And now, please give a warm welcome to Ellen Cherry. Thank you.
This little bird, without a word, starts a song. You are the wire, and you hum with desire to sing along. How can you help yourself? You want her. You cannot see the language of bees in the air. Invisible things that you never had noticed were there. How can I help myself? I want you. How can I help myself? No, I help myself when I hold my breath and I eat my words. But I can fly away out through the window and into the street, onto the sidewalk where you and I meet, up past the parking lot where we first kissed, into the building where I was dismissed, onto the stairwell where you held my hand, up to the rooftop, we make no demands, onto the lightning rod, put on your wings. Here's where we let go everything. How can I help myself? I want you. How can I help myself? Thank you. Hello, everybody. Hi. Hi, in the back. My name is Ellen Cherry. I'm a Baltimore-based song and story alchemist, and I have 60 minutes to take you on a little journey, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to be on roads together. We're going to be on different vehicles, inside vehicles, outside vehicles, inside our minds and our hearts, traveling places together. We're going to weave things together. It's going to be wonderful. I'm very excited to play for you today. I'm very happy to return to the Kennedy Center as well. So that was a song about love. All of my songs are about love, pretty much, except for the ones that are about pianos, but we'll get to that one later. That's also a song about love. And I think that sometimes when you fall in love and then you're in love for a long time, the vehicle that you can feel like you're on is a boat. So maybe there's two people on a boat, and they've been on the boat together for a while. And sometimes the seas feel calm, and sometimes they feel a little bit rough, but you're floating along, right? You're making it work. But then maybe you find yourself in a storm, and one person is at the bow, and the other person is at the stern, and they appear to be facing in opposite directions. She's shouting into the wind. And if you were watching that on a movie screen, you would say, like, just turn and face each other, please. It'll make it so much easier if you just shout towards each other. That's what this song's about. Not the shouting, but the turning and the facing. All hands on deck, we won't go down as another shipwreck. Hold tight to the ropes, there is no need for horoscopes. We may be drenched, splintered fragments, soaked down to the bone, damaged but not broken, almost home. Are you with me? Say yes. Sign here, though there's no guarantee of calm seas or safe passage of anything you possess. We may be bent, stretched out, silent, begging for repair, grasping, please hold on, we're almost there. We might be a ship trapped in a jar. We still use the wind, set sail and trust the stars. Hear this, my friend, we near beginning and not the end. We may feel lost, diffused, star-crossed, off course and unmanned. Darling, please hold on, I see land. Thank you. So as you can see by the end of the story, they did actually turn around, talk to each other. Because then the boat makes landfall in this beautiful place that you may have heard of, full of incredible people and beautiful history, and one of my favorite places on earth. It's called Mexico. Maybe you've been there. Wonderful food, incredible culture, beautiful language. The ship lands on the shore of Mexico, and one of the people on the boat sees this road that the Mayans have built from Tulum to Chichen Itza, and they named it the Sauk Bay. And the reason they called it that is that it's a Mayan word for white road. So the Mayans would pour limestone rock on these roads between their major cities of commerce so that they could use the roads during the night. Limestone has a reflective surface, so the moon would shine on the limestone and they would have these white roads that were very, very straight, very efficient. So one person sees that road and thinks, that's the road for me, point A, point B, walking towards it. And the other person sees the road and says, but what's over there? What's over here to the left? I would like to wander a bit. And that can be confusing when they have to part ways a little bit for maybe ever, or maybe just a little bit of time. because one person wants to wander and one person wants to walk on the straight road. And both of them are fine roads to walk. And they can feel a little bit lonely, and you worry that you may not cross paths again. But you have to let go of that. So this is a little story about the wanderer. Even the blue water turns black when the sun falls into the past. Even my watery heart makes a fist when the sundogs call and a ghost has me right by the wrist. Well, here is a list of all that I need. Mayan road that shines in the heat, some dust from an asteroid belt just to hold, and the promise my voice won't grow old. My life, it's a small one. I have just begun to read the stories and to learn all my lines. Everything's alright, yes, everything's fine. My life, it's a small one. I have just begun to read the stories and to learn all my lines. Everything's alright, yes, everything's fine. Everything's alright, yes, everything's fine. But I'm the fool 'cause I think I've got time. Sundogs call, the dark water goes red, and the ghost she swims where bad dreams have bled. With all that I've thought and I've bought and I've owned, is it enough to have learned to let go? Sewn like buttons on a sleeve, separate while ironing. So well matched, yes, we belong. Just feel the thread that ties us on. If that string goes wearing thin and suddenly you're falling, you find yourself upon the floor and you're miles from the familiar. Just wedge yourself in someone's shoe and let them walk around with you. It might feel abrasive, sure, but think of the adventure. If by chance you fall right out, I am convinced there is no doubt. Soon a tire will roll on through and happily escort you on the road, on the road. Make sure to jump out on the curve at Harford Road and 33rd. Allow the breeze to push you north with leaves and other things that feel they've lost their worth, their worth. I would replace at any cost the fortune that I've bet and lost. But we both know that those born free sometimes need some traveling. Thank you so much. Join me over here on the guitar side of the stage. You don't have to do anything. I'll move around. You can just stay right where you are. You look perfect. So they've been in Mexico. They've spent time together, and they have actually met up at the end of that path. Somebody wandered, somebody walked the straight road, and then at the end they were still there meeting together, which is fantastic. But you have to take it a step further. And I really believe this, in any important relationship, you have to allow the animal inside of yourself to be visible to at least one other person in your life. And I mean this in a metaphorical way, of course, but you have to allow the animal inside of you to say animal things in its animal voice. I hope that makes sense to you in a way that it makes sense to me to say, because it's very important. But I have one piece of advice for you before you allow the animal to come out and say things in its animal voice, is that you shouldn't do it early in the morning before everyone has had coffee and woken up properly. Like, wait until everyone is awake and feeling like they are ready to hear the animal words. Right? That makes sense. I was so mad, I couldn't conceal it. I was in pain, and you could not heal it. You are the tear I cannot wipe away. You are the twin born a different day. You are the binding of the books I've read. You are the lamp burning near our bed. I win the nights when you cannot sleep. I widen the gap of our lovers' lead. I opened my mouth and the wolf came out. She ate the doors, the floors, and the walls came down. I opened my mouth, the wolf came out. Well, you tried to hide, but I found you, and my teeth were sharp. My arms were around you. You are the room where I keep my things. You are the hand where I wear my rings. I was the lost in the lost and found. I haunted the ghost in this ghost town. You were the words that I left unsaid. You were the want that I knew I wanted. Doors, the floors, and the walls came down. I opened my mouth, I opened my mouth. doors, the floors, and the walls came down. I opened my mouth. Hey, thanks. Thank you. So you can see why you would want to wait till after coffee had been drunk, right? Before you let that out of the bag. So the wolf came to me and she was like, the good news is that I am visible, but the bad news is that I did it before 10 a.m. and it didn't go as well as I'd hoped. So I think that there's a simple solution when that happens. Well, it's not a solution, actually. It's a starting point. So it's a 2-word phrase that is effective in a lot of situations. It's 2 words and a period, and you can try it. It's a starting point. And the best thing to do is just to sit the person that you are talking to down. Everybody take a nice deep breath, and all you have to say are these 2 words, and you'll start the conversation. I'm sorry, period. You don't need to say anything after that. Just start there. I'm sorry. An organ full of pastries and a stomach full of stones. What that could mean, who knows, who knows. Living is easy when you stay the same as the change that hurts. So don't change, don't change. I'm staring through the window and I'm searching at your eyes. I need a second chance to win first prize. An evening full of minutes, just a minute for the tears. It's your silence that fuels my fears. Please let me apologize for all that I say and do. It's now that I realize, go I, but for the grace of you. Bedroom full of memories and a house that's full of chores. Still I want more, I want more. I feel a little crazy and I feel a little spare, and I know that's not fair, I don't care. Please let me apologize for all that I say and do. It's now that I realize, go I, but for the grace of you. noggin full of pastries and a stomach full of stones. What that could mean, who knows, who knows? Thank y'all. In 1984, despite the fact that my family did not have cable television, I somehow managed to catch just a little bit of the MTV Music Awards that year. And that year was a very special year because there was a young female performer wearing lace gloves and her interpretation of a wedding dress, and she laid on stage and performed her hit song, Like a Virgin. And this was Madonna, when she was at one of her most glorious times. She was 26 when I saw her perform in that little snippet on the MTV Music Awards, and I was 9 when I saw her. So I wasn't really aware of all of the thoughts that I was having and all the feelings and the way that my body reacted to her performance. But I remember it because I wrote about it in my diary. And I remember having these strange and confusing feelings because I was really attracted to what she was doing and interested and wanted to know more. But I also remember recording the fact that I sort of hated her a little bit at the time because it was obvious that she had gotten information that I had not gotten at all. I didn't have any information. No one gave me any information. It was all guesswork. So around the age of 26 is when I really started actually on a journey where I realized that I could decide how I wanted to be looked at. And I could figure out what I wanted to look at, and I could say what I needed, and I could ask for what I wanted. And that's an amazing thing. So I am so happy and grateful to the bold pioneers who have shared themselves with us that way, and have made me feel brave about asking for what I want. Like a bat that almost burns, I like a wheel that spins and turns. I always like to entertain, there's no time to be ashamed. I like sad songs about sad things, like silent films and wedding rings. I don't like sweet, but I like to savor all those shiny, pretty party favors. I like a lot of what's around me, but I love what wants to dazzle and astound me. Silent thing that dominates and mesmerizes, it fascinates, it makes it hard to separate the quick from the kind and the self from the mind. I love that moment at the start, the tease, the breath, the racing heart. I may stutter and I may laugh, I'll play the fool on your behalf, 'cause I want the thing that makes me high, the first hello and the long goodbye. I wanna know what I don't know, I need to stop but I wanna go. I like a lot of what's around me, but I love what wants to dazzle and astound me. The silent thing that dominates and mesmerized, it fascinates, it makes it hard to separate the quick from the kind and the self from the mind. Hey! slip and fall. Sometimes I like to spill it all. I could tell you what it's all about, but I think it's time for you to shut my mouth. I like a lot of what's around me, but I love the dog that howls and hounds me. The fevered dream is manifest. It sparks, it scalds without arrest. It rips my heart right from my breast and then smiles. Thanks. A couple of years ago, I was lucky enough and worked hard enough, I think, to win a very cool artist residency in a beautiful place called Key West, Florida, a paradise. It's very flat there, and what they do is they give you a bicycle that you can have during the entire residency. So I was there for a whole month, and I had a house and a bike and nothing to do but watch the moon, look at the sun, write songs, and ride around at night. So every night around 11 o'clock, I would ride my bike for 2 hours, and I would wander on and off that Sauk Bay, that straight road that went back to my house. And the cool thing was that I don't know if it was a government fund or a Kickstarter campaign by the city of Key West, but they somehow paid to have the moon pulled closer to the island because it was like right in your face. It doesn't matter where I was. If I was at the Atlantic Ocean, there's the moon. If I was on the Gulf side, there was the moon, and it was always guiding me back. Even if I was wandering off this straight and narrow path, I was back on and found myself at home. So experiencing the moon like that for a month, I got very curious about how it was formed and when we circumnavigated it the first time and how far away it was. And I wanted to find out if you could walk to the moon. I had a Honda Accord that I drove to 289,000 miles, and so I did find that if I had just left Earth and driven, I would have made it, because I'm going to tell you how far away the moon is right now. 238,900 miles away. It was the year of our Lord, 1968. And I'm willing to bet with a cosmic sigh we encourage God to avert his eyes when we drop the bomb in 45. It's not fair. I wasn't here to apologize. I need to clear all this space trash circling around my head and let in the heat of a star that's long been dead, to bring down these thoughts that are satellites confounding my sense of wrong and right, proving once again I'll dissatisfy. It's my fault. Like the faithful, I was petrified. I've been rooted right here on the planet. For ages I've prayed to the sun to forgive and forget and remove the regret of the battle hymns still on our tongues, and grant us another whole day just to breathe and to run. I've been weightless and thoughtless and busy with nothing. That's how I've spent my days, assuming my debts can be paid by the words on a page, disguising my faults with a charming sound. That's a trick that turns trite into profound. Maybe God is a player who won't ever lay her cards down. That's a joke, but I don't feel like laughing now. I have cleared the clouds from my eyes, and I cannot be surprised that no matter how hard we have studied and yearned, I see we remain unconcerned. Politely we say, no thank you, we'd rather burn. You see, it was luck, this accidental atomic grandeur. It's not too late on this stage, there's no room for amateurs. Hello again. So we were just in the stars, or actually we were just in the heavens with the moon, our lovely moon, which is moving away from us. I wish it wouldn't go, but it's moving away every year a little bit further, and eventually we'll leave our orbit. Things will change. It's okay, we have plenty of time to get ready. I think about the stars a lot. I think about them most definitely when I'm looking at my cell phone and realizing that I should be looking up at the sky. There's so many amazing things in the sky. I grew up in Texas where there were these wide open spaces with blue skies, and the summertime just seemed like this dusty, wonderful time to run around and look at the heavens. Clear nights, clear days. And in, I think it was 2010, I was reading the New York Times, and on the front page it was the anniversary of our invasion of another country. And there were a bunch of articles and think pieces about it. And I remember the ramp up to that invasion and the looking for weapons and the way a lot of us felt about what was going on. There's a lot of differing opinions. And this was the anniversary of that date, so there were think pieces about it. And then later in the paper, these two astronomers were excitedly reporting on the fact that a star that had died that they were looking at, the light had just reached our visibility. And I think that's kind of incredible that we were looking at something from the distant past that still existed in time to our eyes. And that just amazed me. And it reminded me that I needed to think about the fact that I'm not immune from the human folly of walking into the same wall over and over again, not realizing that there's a door just a few inches to the left. So I think about those two stories a lot because I don't want to do the same thing over and over again and expect something to change. And I don't want us to do that over and over again and expect things to change. So this is a song about that. It's called Pickett's Charge. When I was young, I used to wonder at the sun and the universe of things I didn't know. Was there a soul like me in another galaxy, peering through an ancient telescope? waving hello. Well, then I read the news today, 7 trillion miles away, a star exploded into space. Could that have been my little friend, just preparing for the end by pressing send before erase and letting go? Letting go. Times into the fray. How many lives, how many days? This is a song about the war. And as a wheel in the machine, well, I've been numb and I've been mean, but I can't take it anymore. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let's explode. Hey, thank you. As I said, I grew up in Texas, and I got a text from my parents right before the show started that they're watching, so I'd like to say hello to Mom and Pop, watching from Texas. I had this little friend who lived across the street from me, and actually, I'm telling the wrong story for this song, so I'm going to start over. Hi, Mom and Pop. How are you doing? Hope you're well. Well, I'll talk to you later. My sisters and I took piano lessons. My parents paid for piano lessons, and when I was younger, my parents gave us a great gift. They bought us a really nice piano, a Wurlitzer Grand, and I played it a lot all through middle school and high school, and then I would come home to visit my parents in Texas and play the piano there. And then I moved away. I moved to Baltimore, and I didn't get to see the piano but a couple of times a year. So my mom called me a couple of years ago. This was probably in 2011, 2010. And she said, we have good news and we have bad news. And I was like, hit me with the good news first. And she said, we're buying a couch and rearranging the living room. And I was like, that is great news. Congratulations. It's wonderful to refresh your living space. And then she said, the bad news is that we're going to sell the piano. And I remember thinking, good luck. No one buys pianos. But my second thought was, after they're not going to be able to do that. My second thought was like, you can't sell the piano, because I don't know if you're aware of this, but what most creative people who use creative tools, like a guitar or a piano, we tell the instrument something very personal, and we expect it to, it's like a confessor, and it receives all of the information and then translates it into songs that are palatable for, remember when I was talking about the animal being visible, speaking in its animal words? These are my translators, and they filter all the stuff like, don't say that, that's not nice. Okay, you can say that. And I had whispered over many years secrets into the soundboard, and then handily with the piano, you can shut the lid, and it traps all the information inside of it. And it's only revealed when you lift up the thing, and you can you familiarize yourself with it again. So my second thought was you can't sell this piano because it knows too much. And the next person will hear all of these things that I said into the piano and will reveal my true personality. Please don't sell the piano. It still has songs left to play. It won't tell a soul no. All the things I said, but I really shouldn't say. Please don't tell the piano you fear it's sad and depressed. It was me who inspired all of the songs it confessed. Drag it out to the back by its legs before the sun settles down. Take out the keys and cut the strings, press the pedals right into the ground. Let the wind, the rain, and time age it to its bones. So we will have to start again with voices, trees, and stones. Please don't tell the piano they've come to take it away. And please don't sell the piano. Still has songs left to play. It still has songs left to play. So, as I was saying, I grew up in Texas. And it was a suburb of Dallas, and it was a small suburb at the time. And I had this little friend who lived across the street, and we went to the same elementary school together for our entire grammar school experience. And so we were best friends from kindergarten through 5th grade. And I had started keeping a diary when I was around 7 or 8, so I would write about him in my diary and the things we would talk about. And every day before we would go to school, because he lived right across the street, we would meet in the middle of the street, and we would walk down the street and turn left and go like 2 blocks and then cross a footbridge to my elementary school. And we studied together, we shared secrets about tests and teachers, and our school was really interested in the Challenger shuttle taking off because it had a teacher on board, so the whole school gathered and we watched it on television, and it was when it exploded, it was a very moving and terrible experience to witness together, and the whole school was dismissed, and he and I walked back across the footbridge and turned the block in silence and walked up the street, and we didn't even want to be apart, so we spent the rest of the day together watching the news over and over again. I'll never forget watching that with him. And I don't know, it's interesting to think about where he might be these days. And I've just sort of put it out there because people have said, well, you can look him up on the internet. But I feel like that's cheating. I haven't seen or known anything about that guy since 5th grade. And this is how I remember him, and I like that. It's kind of like a spell. I'd like it to stay that way, I think. This one's called Weatherford Elementary. That's where we went to school. Hey Tyler, meet me in the street again. It's 1981. It's 8 a.m. We can walk together down the block to the school. You'll remember me and I'll remember you. Hey Tyler, why don't you ask the teacher for a pass? Or better yet, just meet me on the walk home after class. We can kick the dust up underneath the monkey bars. We can spend homeroom playing hooky and counting cars. It was my favorite thing to do. To walk right next to you. Let me quiz you on the planets and the stars while we poke holes for lightning bugs in lids of mason jars. You can ask me spelling words I've written in my list. You can tell me secrets, what you want and what you wish. It was my favorite time, walking with your hand in mine. Do you recall the cloud, the sky, and the little games? Or what you wrote inside my book next to our middle names? I remember walking slow. You were my favorite thing to know. Hey Tyler, it's 1981, it's 8 a.m. Will you meet me in the street again? Thank you. While I'm tuning up for the next song, I'd really like to thank the crew here at the Kennedy Center and the Millennium Stage: Genevieve, Greg, Chandler, Mary, Josh. I hope I'm not leaving anybody out. I appreciate the care that you've given me when I showed up, and very professional and wonderful. And I would like to thank all of you guys who made the time to come out and see me perform this evening. Thank you so much. If you decide later, you're like, man, she is intriguing. Where can I find more information about her? You can find that information, well, the stuff I want you to know. The stuff I didn't tell to the soundboard. All the stuff that wasn't told to the piano, you can find out at ellencherry.com. And if you're curious about what happened to the piano, if my parents were successful in selling it or not, I'm not going to tell you. There's a video on my website. If you go to the music videos page, you can find a video for our song called Please Don't Sell the Piano, and you'll find the answer there. So I encourage you, now you have incentive, because you're like, well, I want to know. And you can find out. I also have a Bandcamp site, and it's a new music business, and you may be wondering how musicians make a living, and we do it with money. You can buy my music, and speaking of which, all of my CDs are basically free. I would love every single person here to take a CD with you tonight. Back at the merch table, I've put out all of my different projects that I still have in print. The Portrait Song is a CD dedicated to women's stories. The other ones are older. I have a CD back there that I did with my friend Steve Dawson out in Chicago, and they're available to you. I usually charge $10. There's a jar. Throw some money in there if you want to. You don't have to, though. I would love for all of those CDs to be gone, and I will meet you back there after the show if you want to chat. And the keychains are free. Please take those as well. It doesn't do me any good to have CDs with my own music in my house, because I know what it sounds like. So please take it with you. And I promise that all of your money will go towards good things like rent and gas and things like that. So The last time I was here was in 2012, and I was an artist in residence at the Strathmore, and I got this gig to play this beautiful stage. And I didn't know it, but a year later, I was going to be in a life-altering event, which I'm going to tell you about. And the life-altering event was a terrible car wreck, and it's taken me a long time to recover, and I'm still in recovery. But I hope that you have been able to see on my face what a pleasure it is to play guitar and to play piano and to sing my songs, because it's as amazing to me as I hope it is for you to listen to music created by somebody that is just really glad to be alive, but also just glad to be able to play again. So it's just a joyful thing for me to sit here and to play this beautiful song that I feel I wrote about my experience. And I want to tell you a little bit about it before I play it. So I was driving my friend Mike home from a house concert I had played. He's my best friend from high school. We've known each other for over 20 years, and he lives outside Denton, Texas, which is north of Dallas. And I had picked him up, and we went to the house concert, and I played, and I was driving home, and about a mile from his house. And because we've known each other for so long, we can give each other a hard time, right? You have friends like that who can kind of poke you a little bit. And I drive really conservatively, so I was driving slow. And he poked me on the shoulder and said, "You are driving 10 miles below the speed limit, and you can certainly drive a lot faster. We're never going to get there." And he was giving me a hard time, and we both laughed. And when I laughed, I looked up in the rearview mirror, and the last thing that I remember seeing were the headlights of the car right behind me. So he hit us really hard at 115 miles an hour, and I grabbed onto the steering wheel, and the car flipped and smashed on the left side, and then it flipped again, and it smashed on the right side, and then it flipped again. It was amazing. I mean, if I was watching it on a movie, I would think this is incredible, but I was inside the car, which is not the most fun place to be watching all of this go down, because it flipped through the air, and then on its roof, it landed and skidded into a ditch off the side of the highway. And the highway was littered with stuff flying out of the car because all the windows had smashed and all the airbags had gone off. And when it all settled, I looked over, and Mike was okay. He was fine. He didn't look like he was in grave danger, and I felt myself and felt like I was okay. But it was just this incredibly violent thing to experience. And I've had a lot of time to think about why it felt so strange and violent, because I tried to think, well, I lived, and so I should be fine. But when everything was settled, I had broken a collarbone, I had a chemical burn for a short time on the side of my face, and I had a jumbled mind. And what happens usually after something that traumatic, you get an existential crisis, and that's what happened. So I think the summary of it was that I started the show talking about being in vehicles, and I think you get used to this vehicle that you're wandering around in. And I had gotten really used to this vehicle, and then all of a sudden it was completely different, and I had to relearn how to operate the levers, and I had to relearn how to read the signs and to be comfortable. And I drove myself here today, and I was so excited to get here, and it was a pleasant experience. And I was so excited because it's taken me about 5 years to get to that point. And so I wanted to write a song about the journey. We started at the beginning of the show talking about being on and off paths and journeys and different vehicles. And some of those are metaphorical, and for me, they're very real and literal. So thank you so much for letting me play for you today. It's been such a pleasure, and this is my final song. My name is Ellen Cherry, and I have no place for my sadness, but don't worry. You'll find out at the end what happens. From my sadness no longer fits in a box. I'm sorry to say, even though it's been told, it cracked the code and it picked the locks. I have no place for my sadness. It somehow got smarter than me, and the tricks that it learned made it brave and bold. It broke the leash and set itself free. I have no place for my sadness, so my sadness abandoned me. Nowhere to curb my longing, as slippery as a black snake. It twists and it turns for these hours on end, fever dream that refuses to wake. No way to curb my longing, a failure of chromosomes, or a dog at the door again and again. My longing always finds its way home. There's no way to curb my longing, so my longing won't leave me alone. This is no complaint, I'm just praying to the saints and sinners all around. I'm star-crossed, sitting cross-legged on the ground. I haven't the practice of reason, the reason is silly it seems. I suppose that it's true upon further review. I dash logic for sake of my dreams. I haven't the practice of reason, so I'm not building a road. I'm the water that falls in the dam that won't hold. I'm the river that overflowed. I haven't the practice of reason, I already know what I don't want to know. There is some regret. I have torn my safety net and ripped my parachute. I am flawed, perfectly so, possibly just like you. This is no request, no ordinary test of strength and character. I'm not lost, I'm on a permanent detour. Thank you. Thank you so much, y'all. I hope you have a great night. Please drive safely and come see me again, okay?
Thank